The Survivor Specialists, Phil and McKenna, are back, and today we continue the road to 50, discussing Survivor 45's The Ex-Girlfriend at the Wedding. So what is it? Final 6 of this season. The Reba 4 finally having to turn on each other. The episode before this, they had already turned on poor Mama J, who just wanted to play the game. And remember, we were all good friends. Mama J had just survived with the idol play, thanks to Dee saying, Mama J, you should play your idol. And so she did. So this episode covers the aftermath of that and shows Dee with Austin, and Dee having a mind for this game, and ultimately leading to Drew being voted out in blindside fashion. Exciting times. Season 45 is so good. It really is.
It really is. And we saw Emily in this episode too. You know, the preview for her getting voted out, and then one shot on the jury. So we're also showcasing Emily. Let's not forget about her in this episode, just like how Aubrey was in the Extinction episode. Yeah, I'm really excited for what short time we will probably have of Dee on season 50, because this episode was so much fun to watch. I loved watching Dee navigate the game. I like hearing her thoughts, but this episode just proves how big of a threat she will be out on the island. And I just don't think that people are going to let her get far with, one, the winner status, and two, just the social skill that she has. Yes, she might be able to manipulate some people, but I just don't think everyone is falling under her spell.
Why do you think, and I will get into Dee, but why do you think they didn't choose an episode that could have highlighted both her and Emily? Because they could have just done the episode before this. And I know Emily would have gone home, but it shows off so much of Emily's personality and Emily's gameplay. And it starts off with her saying, I did that to get Bruce out. Why not do the episode before where Bruce gets blindsided? Why do you think they chose not to do an episode that showed off Emily as well as Dee?
I don't know, because if you have someone on the season, that it's not going to be a bad episode if you show something that involves them. Why not show it? I understand why they might not have shown Aubrey in Edge of Extinction, because you might not be able to showcase both of their games in an episode, but I think you can show both Emily and Dee in an episode of 45. So I really don't understand why they didn't show Emily. Maybe, you know, we are supposed to read into this, and Emily goes further than Dee, so she'll have her screen time. I don't know, but I don't know why they didn't choose something with Emily in it.
Yeah, I'm surprised because, you know, the 2 episodes before this, Emily is such a big part of, and Dee is also a big part of. And you know what? Like, honestly, if you wanted to show the episode before this, you could have shown why Dee wins the season and why Emily ultimately doesn't, and why they're coming in with different threat levels into the season of season 50. So I don't know, but this is a great episode. Like, I have no complaints about this episode. I'm just surprised that with 2 people on 45, both make it very far in the game. Why not try to highlight as many of them as you can, especially when you've already omitted some people? So now really Aubrey, Jonathan, Emily, Jenna Lewis, we didn't get anything for them in this series.
And I'm pretty sure we did the episode right before this for Dee's episode, for her defining episode. So it's clearly an important episode to storylines and things like that. So, you know, why not just show it? Even if it is Emily's ouster, we have Coach's boot in the Martyr approach. Why not showcase Dee's strategy plus how big of a threat Emily is in the game?
Well, and like, I understand wanting to maybe protect some of your players, but Emily's much more of a character than a gamer. So why not show her being voted out? You know, like that's why I think they had no problem showing Coach. They also showed Ozzy getting voted out, you know, they show him getting back in, and they ultimately show him getting voted out. So I just think they could have chosen one. And I think the other one is really Dee's defining episode, because it is Dee ultimately telling Julie, this is what you need to do. Play your idol. We're going to get Emily out of this game in a, you know, 6-1 vote or something like that. I'm going to have to play dumb. We're going to have to figure this out. But, you know, it's a great episode. It shows off her game. It shows off Emily's game as well. They could have done it. But look, all right, we're going to talk about the ex-girlfriend at the wedding now. And I wanted to highlight it because I do people are talking about, why are they picking these episodes? Why each one? What is going on? It's a fair question. So,
yes,
but we're here. This is what we got. the Reba 4 officially comes to an end here. And it's with Drew going home. And Dee starts off this episode saying, I can't believe I'm lying to Austin. I have to be lying to Austin. There's really nothing I can do, but it was the best to Austin again. My internet stopped. My internet cut.
No,
So
it
you
was
go.
it was
My
definitely
internet's going
mine.
to struggle.
It was mine too.
No,
So
I got
we're
the
both
Wait, did you get the spinny circle on black on yours?
mine just glitched. So we're
Oh,
both
so maybe it was
struggling
StreamYard.
here.
Okay. Maybe it was StreamYard then, because mine just got like the spinny circle of black, which always tells me. But anyway, it starts with her saying that she had to blindside Austin and she didn't feel good about it. And it ends with her ultimately blindsiding Austin after they go on their date and do all of that. And she has her gushing moments of, oh my God, me and Austin, he's so good. What is the question? What do you think about all of this stuff that goes on here? What are they highlighting of Dee?
So she says Julie's her number one, but Austin is also her number one. So you can't have two number ones. Clearly, she's choosing who her number one is in Julie. She's going towards Julie's camp because she knows if she gets rid of Drew, Austin is going to be now in her pocket, because what is Austin going to do? He's drooling over her and he doesn't have somebody else to fall back on. So by saving Julie, and then lying to everybody else and then getting Drew out, it really cuts Austin at the knees. And then she has a solidified vote in Austin, solidified vote in Julie, and she can navigate the rest of the game because now they're at final five. And if she wants to, there's three to go into the three, or she can use the other two that are on the bottom to manipulate to go against Mama J, to go against Austin, or just to vote the other two out. So I think by leaving Austin in the dark, yes, it might tick him off, but what is he going to do?
Which is also funny, though, because the next episode is where it's the 2-1-1 vote. Jake plays the idol on Katurah. So this doesn't really end up as the 3-2 obvious boot and everything like that. Dee ends up voting for Julie. Katurah ends up voting for Julie. Jake votes for Dee. I'm sorry, Austin and Katurah both vote for Julie. And so it's like, it's much more complicated when it actually gets to the final five, but it does feel like this is the best thing that Dee could have done. It's an awesome move. It makes total sense. So good for her. But yeah, St. Cliffo says Dee's number one is Dee. And I do agree with that. And, you know, I know that some people in the chat are saying that they don't really like Dee, but at the same time, you know, when you're playing Survivor, your number one does have to be yourself. Like, you can have allies and all of that, but to win Survivor, your number one has to be you. And if Dee doesn't make the move to tell Julie what to do with that idol, Austin wins this season. Like, Austin loses by 2 votes, but it's really one person votes a different way. They're in a tie. And then Jake is casting the deciding vote for who's going to win the season. So it really is. Austin doesn't get nearly enough credit in the community for how good of a game he plays, and the fact that he's still almost able to overcome all of the great things Dee does and still beat her. Like, he comes as close to winning as you can. It's essentially a 4-3 vote. I know it's a 2-vote loss, but that's because there's 8 people voting. You know, he comes as close as he can. So it is impressive. And, you know, I don't think he gets enough credit, but Dee shows in this game, in this episode especially, she's willing to use everybody as a chess piece. And that's got to be scary if you're coming out into the game. I think Dee will survive a little bit, though, because she is so good at challenges and she will be really useful from a physical standpoint early on.
I mean,
I think she's an early merge. Yeah, but she's an early merge after watching this. You cannot let her start getting her feet under her because she'll run webs all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. She's just, her social game is absolutely crazy, that she could flat out lie to both Austin and Drew, being like, no, I never told Julie. Why would I tell Julie, when they know damn well she's been working with Julie and they've been tighter than tight. So the fact that they just believe her that she didn't tell Julie, I don't know. Like, that's got to be some sort of mist going on with her.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, so the other thing with Dee coming out of this episode is Austin, Julie, she's laughing when she's walking away with Julie. And she's like, I can't control myself. We need to get away from camp because I'm going to laugh.
Yeah.
So seeing something like that, if you're going out to play 50, you know that Dee is going to be there. You have a feeling. I mean, you're going through the casting process. You're seeing other people, so you're probably watching these New Era seasons. And you're watching them back. You can never really feel comfortable with Dee as an alliance member in the season now, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Because who is she talking to behind your back? Who's her real number one? She can have multiple number ones and persuade you, like she persuaded Julie not to vote for Austin with the idol and just get Austin out, because that would be a great idea. Like she flip-flops, but she has meaningful relationships. It's like she makes you feel comfortable, but she could vote you out if she wanted to.
Yeah, and so, like, if she's laughing with you, that doesn't mean that she's not ready to vote you out. I mean, the end of this episode is her jumping up and down with Katurah,
Mhm.
and it's what, Jake having that whole conversation with Katurah saying, I don't want Katurah to go back and tell Dee. That's the one thing. And the next shot is them jumping up and down saying, Drew. It's so crazy, but like, she played so well with every person out there. And I know at Final Five on this season, a lot of people say that she got lucky, and that's why they'll try to demote her as a winner. That's why they'll try to say she's not as good as maybe we will rate her, because we generally rate her as the number one New Era winner. But the thing is, to get Katurah to mess up Jake's plan, she had to have that good of a relationship with Katurah. And if Katurah is going to be delusional enough to think that she can beat Dee at Final Tribal, good for you for aligning with the person who's delusional enough who thinks they can beat you at Final Tribal Council. So yeah, it's Dee plays like such a flawless game throughout. And this episode does a good job of highlighting all of it, but it also does show her weakness. And her weakness is that she gets a little casual with stuff. Her and Austin holding hands on the helicopter. She's not able to answer questions. Katurah is third wheeling. That works on an all newbie season. That's not going to work on 50.
Yeah. She does have some, I guess I wouldn't really call it skills with the challenge and dealing with returnees, because it's such a different game. Like John had mentioned this to me before, like, do we think Dee is going to be better off at a returnee season having played the challenge with all returnees, basically? And I just don't think that's going to help her in this situation, because the challenge is such a different game than Survivor. And I do worry how she navigates those relationships.
Well, yeah, because the challenge also is like all these people who have been building up relationships for playing the same game
Exactly.
27 times. It gets so repetitive. It's insane. That's not the case with Survivor. Like, yeah, Colby has played with Cirie. Cirie has played with Ozzy. Ozzy has played with Coach. Coach has played with Colby. Not really. I mean, they're on the same season. They both make the jury, but that's really it. You get people who have played with each other, but they haven't played with each other over and over. They haven't learned each other's tells. They haven't, found out each other's strengths and weaknesses actually out there on the island. So I don't think it's really going to make a difference at all, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
All right, we got a super chat, and I don't know what this means. So Trav Herod says, I found out that CBS has sent recruits to the idol hunt from watching news stories about it on YouTube. I'm more pissed than Liz if that's true.
So like sending people to like enter into the idol hunt giveaway, like it's like the season 50 idol hunt that's going on.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like there's no recruits. I feel like it's just everybody's going.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to go. I mean, I think it is going to be a random draw for sure.
Yeah, I mean they have hired people manning the like idol station plus survivors there to take pictures, but
it's not like Troyzan entered in.
Yeah.
When he was taking the pictures. So I don't think so. All right, we got Daryl Seymour. Someone said that Dee is too loyal because she is willing to take people to the end who can beat her. What do you think about that?
I think it depends. If Austin could have beaten her, yes, but I don't know. I think you are loyal, but if you're able to perform in Final Tribal Council, then I don't know. I feel like if you are confident in your Final Tribal Council skills, then it doesn't necessarily matter what the other player did in the game, if you're able to take them a bit off kilter and make their final tribal council a bit worse and boost yours, I think that's where some of these people that have like really decent games and that they're pretty similar, it all hinges on final tribal council and how well you can convey your game. And I think Dee is very good at conveying her game and able to tell the jury, this is what I did and this is what they did different than me, and kind of throw off their other, final tribal councilists.
Yeah, I also think that the only person who could beat her on this season was Austin. I know Daryl's asking, what about Julie? I mean, watching this episode with Julie has a really big episode here. Julie was always kind of seen as that fourth person. People were, we can't go to the final tribal with mom. I think a lot of people could have beaten Julie on this season. I think Julie would have had a good story. We've seen the older woman lose at final tribal, though, plenty of times. I mean, Julie Rosenberg did it not that long ago. At this point, it was only 7 seasons before this. She gets destroyed at final tribal, and everybody likes Julie. I mean, the whole cast likes Julie as a person. Mm-hmm. They still weren't willing to vote for her. Funny that both their names are Julie, so that's confusing. But, she needed Austin throughout the game in order to get there because Austin was the connection. She didn't really have that much of a connection with, with Drew. She could beat Drew. She could beat Austin. She could beat Julie. She was Katurah. People will try to argue that Katurah could have won this season. Katurah loses to every single person who's there at the end. And then Jake also, or even if Katurah doesn't lose, she doesn't win in any scenarios. But Jake, is the 0 vote finalist here. So when you get down to it, Dee wins in that final 6 as long as she gets the final tribal. So she has to be loyal to somebody. But I also feel like Dee is so good that she can sit next to good people and beat them anyway. Like I said, I think Austin's a very underrated player. He gets kind of looked at as like, oh, he's the dweeb who got dragged along and blah, blah, blah. It's not really true. Like he plays a really good game. He just makes one blunder and people say he's blinded by love. He was just blinded by the fact that why would anybody lie in the way Dee did with that Julie move? It just doesn't make sense with what's going on with his brain. That's the only time he really gets duped by her and doesn't know. He obviously gets duped by her here. And he realizes right away he's disgusted. Yeah.
I think Dee just plays that strong of a social game that Austin isn't. Yes, he's quote unquote blinded by love, but I think he's also blinded by just Dee's strong social game. Mm-hmm. And if that's the way she's deciding to use her social game, I mean, I'm going to say it. Parvati did it and was able to make her way very deep in the game, and that is a tactic to use. If Dee's gonna be like, oh, Austin, you're so cute, use it.
Yeah.
Ozzy has said in the Mike Bloom interview, if Dee walked up to him and started talking sweet, he would be on the back foot a little bit because, I mean, Dee's Dee, look at her. But
and I love that. Ozzy keeps telling everybody he's learned from his previous games and he's going to play a different game, but sure, he's going to fall into that trap. And I'm sure he's not going to just totally try to be the provider who wins challenges too. I'm sure he's totally going to play a strategic game. That's what it sounds like to me.
He wants to be Oscar, not Ozzy.
So funny. Yeah, this is a good episode though overall, and I think what this episode does, this is the first New Era episode, as you can tell by the views, the numbers, McKenna. If you're looking at the number in the top corner, that'll tell you that this is the first New Era episode.
Not because it's 11:39 on the East Coast.
I mean, we had 11:39 on the East Coast last Wednesday too, and that episode has 780 views. So, yeah, I'm just saying it's a big difference between Heroes versus Villains premiere and season 45, episode 12, but. I think that for them to go with this episode as the first one of the New Era episodes that they're showing, it's really showing off what the New Era has, which is advantages for sure. Strategic gameplay, yes, it is there, but it's kind of these smaller, more dynamic tribals, or at least that's what Jeff wants them to be. And I think that this does a good job of highlighting the things that Survivor wants. Big moment, big move, blindside, kind of the back and forth nature of these alliances and how they could go either way and who's ultimately going to make what decision.
The secret duo aspect of it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here that you're not necessarily you're not seeing it from Jonathan in 42 at all. Maybe that's why they chose to highlight this.
42 is such a different game. I just rewatched 41 and 42, and those two are such a different kind of game from the New Era. it definitely morphs for the better the deeper you get into the new era. Like, I was surprised at just how different those 2 seasons were.
Yeah. I mean, it's a totally different thing. Neither one of them is very good. 42 gets a lot more credit than it deserves. But anyway, so yeah, it makes sense so that they would start with this, because then with 46, you're going to highlight Q. You're going to highlight the chaos of 46. Hide and Seek is a very chaotic episode. Who gets booted in Hide and Seek? Hunter?
Yes.
That's the Hunter boot?
Because yeah, because he's hiding up in the tree for
Yeah.
Oh, no, he wins immunity.
So who goes
Because it's get a grip.
Who goes home?
I think he wins immunity. Is it Venus?
No, Venus is after Hunter, because she gets to vote him out. And remember, the whole time they're trusting. Is it Tevin? Yeah, it's Tevin. Okay.
Tevin.
So that's the Tevin boot. So you get to highlight all of your players, but you're highlighting the chaos of the new era. And then in season 48 with Icarus time, you're making season 48 seem like it could actually be like a good season, because you're showing off, oh, these are the subtleties of the gameplay, and this is what we need to do, and this is how it's going to go. So they chose 3 exciting episodes from the new era that they're highlighting here. 3 gameplay heavy, character centric, but like not character centric in the way that the Devins episode is. Like the Devins episode has a lot of gameplay, but it's highlighting Rick Devins. The Martyr approach is highlighting Coach. This is very much like trying to show everything as a whole, and it just so happens that D, Q, and then I guess Kyle are the stars of these 3 episodes. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a good choice. We talked at the beginning, it's a good choice. Would have been a better choice because you get Emily. But I also understand, like, if you are doing Hide and Seek, if you are doing Icarus time, you're trying not to show people that are on 50 being voted out of the game unless you're doing a finale or you're doing Martyr approach, which is just whatever. You got to do that.
But I think sometimes showing boot episodes give you some evolution and to maybe why they would be on 50. Oh, they got voted out this way. I can see why they brought them back. Like, I don't think boots necessarily show people in bad light if they're a returning player, because it shows that's not the end of their story. They have something else to do on 50.
Well, that's again, like Emily's doing her dance at the auction and like the margarita stuff. I guess that's the episode actually before that. That's the Bruce boot. Like, you know, Dee ends up on the wrong side of the vote during the Bruce boot because she votes for Jake, but so what? Show it, highlight it. Let's do it. You know, give me some Emily. I don't know. I just feel like it's like if we were doing all these, if you're putting it together and you're saying, here's your 24 players, we only have 10 episodes. You're pretty much saying to yourself, how can we make 10 episodes that show off the maximum amount of players? That's what you're trying to figure out. That's not what they did, which is just interesting.
Right. I agree. Like, yes, you want to show off Micronesia, but you didn't pick an episode that has Ozzy in it. Like,
why you have to go South Pacific to show Ozzy.
But we also have 3 coaches. But we could have wrapped up Ozzy, Sari, Aubrey, maybe in Game Changers. Like, I know it's not a perfect version of any of them, but it's like, if you want to show episodes that have these people, try and get the bulk in. Heroes versus Villains has a bulk episode of people on this cast. Yes, we only know Stephanie breaks her shoulder, but like, that's it. But we still saw Stephanie. So like, I think if they're going to show certain things, let's show bulk episodes that are really good from that season that have a little bit of each character in it, but are still solid episodes.
Well, because Blake was talking about it last night, when you're kind of getting dropped into these episodes just in the middle. You don't really know what's going on before. You don't really know what's going on after. So if you're giving America a bite-sized piece of a season, like we are, like this episode tonight is a bite-sized piece, why not just give them the bite that's the biggest bite? You know, like why give them, oh, well, look, this is Dee's, like nobody's actually watching this be like, oh, remember what Dee did? Most people are watching this because it's a Wednesday night in February and there's nothing to watch. Like,
and it's Survivor Wednesday.
Yeah, and it's a week till it premiere. It's fresh on the mind. Now you've got everybody hooked where they're tuning in week or day after day because they've been doing every episode. I just feel like it's a weird choice. I think it's a weird choice that like to not just have them chew off the biggest piece, but that's what we're talking about for most of this episode, because at the end of the day, it's also tough of like, what are we, how much can you really talk about with these episodes? Because we've already recapped them. And now, especially into the new era, it's like we did this not too long ago. Jack Wolf, Phil, is Ron Clark doing an event and will you be there? He is doing an event. I am up in the air on whether or not I will be there. I have talked to Ron. I'm trying to figure out if my house is going to sell, if I'm still going to be in Florida. We don't know. If I'm in Florida, I will be flying up to Atlanta to go to that. Yes. If I'm not in Florida, if I'm in the process of moving or something, I don't know. It's too up in the air when you're like dealing with house stuff. So it's been fun. But yeah, Ron Clark event. If you're going to be there, Ron Clark event's the best. I love Bryson Wendell. I love Fair Play. Like any event you can go to, it's great. But the Ron Clark event is a different level just because of how massive it truly is. So anyway, and Ron Clark got voted out last night. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right. We're going from Ron Clark being voted out to now season 45 and Drew being voted out.
One of the biggest villains,
Yeah. One of the biggest villains. I know you called it. And I said he would take that as a compliment. Did this episode not make you kind of wish that somebody else was on the season 50 from this season?
Okay. I don't think from this season he deserves a spot, but I just love Jake with all of my heart. And he would just make me so happy. Like whenever he's on my screen, he just makes me happy, but I feel like he fell so many times that I don't think 50 is his season, but I think we need to see Jake again.
Will and I are like huge Jake stans. We always talk about how Jake should be playing Survivor again. And I get why he's not on 50, 0 finalist, whatever, but like, I do feel like Jake needs to be on a second chance season. He's great confessional giver, plays so hard when him and Julie are going off and he's like, I'm a cool babysitter. Like all that stuff is so good.
And like his moment on the beach where he's crying and just like he picks himself back up again. I just think he's a great story arc in this season, and his move didn't pan out, but I don't know. He's just like such a good, you can feel how good of a person he is through this season.
There's also the confessional where he's talking about, I don't mind doing this in my underwear. I did a play, blah, blah, blah. And he's laughing, he's joking. And then he's like, so then I had to go do this. And he gets so serious on a dime. He just, boom, flips a switch. And it's so different. I always love that moment. And yeah, I'm surprised. Jake doesn't really come up in so much of these snub things people aren't talking about. And I get maybe he's not a snub for 50. I think there's already too much new era. Like, can he really be a snub when you don't have Jesse, you don't have Carolyn, you don't have like a lot of players who made it really deep and were big roles on their season? But yeah, I think Jake should absolutely be playing.
Yeah,
he should absolutely be playing another season, and I think he really shines on this in this episode. And
I think if that move that he's outlining worked the way he planned, if Dee was in the dark, I think that would have been an excellent resume booster for him to be able to convince at Tribal. Like, you don't want to convince at camp, convince them at Tribal. Like, we're going to Rocks. Do you want to risk your game for Drew? No, you don't. Come on now. And then one of Dee or Austin are flipping 100%. And Dee definitely would flip. And I think that would be a great move for him.
Yeah. And it's funny because Jake is constantly just not able to make the move work, right? Like the next episode too, he comes up with the right plan and then Katurah just runs to Dee and tells her. So it really was just like Jake was just really shouldn't have been aligned with Katurah. Katurah was going back to Dee and telling Dee all the information that he didn't realize Katurah was telling her.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, Jake just never had a solid ally to be able to trust that wouldn't backstab him or only work with him for maybe one vote or what have you. But without having that solid ally, he still made it all the way to the end. And that's a big prop to him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, tomorrow night we're gonna be doing hide and seek. We don't need to drag it out just for the sake of dragging it out. I'm on my third hour of podcasting, so that's fine. So tomorrow night, hide and seek. That'll be after the traders, though. So that'll be another late one, probably closer to 11:15, just like this one. And we will be talking about Q's episode. So tune into that. If you are watching, please like the video. Helps us. It helps us. It helps us. I know I say it every time, but like, the last video we were doing, we had 120 people watching live and we had 25 likes afterwards. And that just, it hurts. Hit the like. All right. Anyway, Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow night with another episode of Road to 50. Again, 11:15-ish because we got to do the traders first. And yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hour and a half, new era. That's what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
See ya, everybody.
Goodbye.
See, I hit a